No, yeah. It's actually flying from Jakarta to Bandung just for this webinar. And I would like to thank him too for coming here to Bandung. So that's it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna start now?
Sure, we can get straight into it.
Okay. Here.
Headphones?
Yeah, you got the headphones.
Okay, we can share that.
Okay. We're gonna like sit here.
Yeah, I'll come down.
I think it's better this way.
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing?
Kedengeran. Yeah.
Can everyone hear me clearly? I'm not hearing anything.
I know. Yes. Okay.
Okay, awesome. So first, thank you, Ariel, for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
You should think like SEG.
Everybody in general, thank you very much for having me. I think it's really important for business people to connect with the youth, with colleges in general, because you guys are the next generation. It's important that you're seeing how things are going, because the world is changing in a way that is much faster.
Like, put it on your left.
What?
Like
the things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Because the world is changing in ways that, frankly, your parents may not understand. In speeds that your parents cannot understand, because my parents don't, and frankly, even a lot of people in my generation aren't aware of how fast things are changing and how important it is to be aware of concepts like innovation and what that actually means. Prior to me getting started, I realized that there's going to be different levels of English in the group.
Yeah, so you get to slow down.
Yeah, I know. I got it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That. So if you either repeat the thing, or I can definitely slow down for you if that's what's necessary, or just take notes, and then when we do the question and answer.
Slow down right now.
That's too fast too?
Yeah, that's too fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No problem. Okay, so we are talking about geophysics and innovation. First thing I like to know is what you guys understand about what it is in geophysics. Like, what does that mean? What is geophysics to you?
Ada yang mau jawab nggak? Eric gitu? Atau siapapun mau jawab?
You want to pick somebody that can answer the question?
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah. So
Eric, can you please answer what Mr. Simon was asking? He was asking what geophysics is to you. I didn't hear the questions. Yeah, that's why I repeat the questions. What is geophysics to you? You can turn on the microphone if you want. Is it alright?
That's a good line.
Hello? What is geophysics? Yeah, what is geophysics to you?
Okay,
You can
so
just like that.
my name is Frederick, and I am a geophysics student. So your question is, what is geophysics? Geophysics is a field that we study about physics, the physics property of the Earth, where we can find resources such as hydrocarbons or minerals or waters or such things such like that using physical methods. So that's the summary of geophysics. And if you ask for the further questions about geophysics, maybe Ariel, you can help me explaining it, because I don't really understand.
No, we're good. Your answer was good. Your answer was very good. The idea sometimes for going to school is not just understanding the definition of what it is that you're doing, but the actual application of that thing. Yeah. How do you use geophysics to either start a career, or even, which I'm going to keep the direction more into entrepreneurship, as in how do you use geophysics to start your own business? Will you mute your microphone for me again? Because there's a lot of feedback.
What do you mean?
You ask him to mute his microphone.
No, you're not muting that microphone.
There we go. He's good now. He's
Okay.
good. Okay, thank you very much for that. So understanding that geophysics is about both finding, but also being aware of the physics of the Earth. Like, that's the actual simplistic definition of it, right? Geo is Earth, physics is physics. Simple. So in the space of understanding geophysics, how do you use or approach geophysics and in what way? So Indonesia is the mining industry here is huge. I actually have one of my programs is in Sumbawa, and I'm like 20 minutes away from the largest gold mine in Indonesia. So I'm very much aware of how that is an immediate situation that can be effective for people that are in this area, both economically, scholastically. There's a lot that can happen in there, but there's so much more. There's so much more. When you have thermodynamics, thermoelectricity, there's so many different things that you can pay attention to in the space here, and how you can develop those things. And being that you are the generation to do those things, you have access to information, you have access to technology that the previous generations didn't, as well as the speed of the change of that technology, where you can apply those things much faster. We can try a attempt and fail, attempt and fail, attempt and succeed. That process can happen so much faster. So you can get answers in 10 days that used to take 5 years. I'm familiar with Elon Musk and SpaceX, but that's like the best example. What Elon Musk has been able to do with SpaceX in such a short period of time, he's done more than NASA in like 60 years, and he did it in like 3.5 years. And it's because of where we are in technology today. We have the internet, we got 3D printing, we got so many things. So how do you take what you're learning from school as far as in geophysics, and how would you apply those things into either a workplace situation or into entrepreneurship? One of the key things that you guys want to talk about are soft skills, and we can definitely get into that space of soft skills. But do you know the difference between hard skills and soft skills? Does somebody want to answer that question? What's the difference between hard skills and soft skills?
Just pick one.
I have no idea how this thing works, so you can
pick one. No, like just ask them. Like so, like Kevin. Just ask Kevin.
Host.
Oh. Okay. I'm just gonna like use my phone.
Okay, yeah. If that's better for you, absolutely. Okay. We got to figure out the tech support situation here.
You just continue first while I figure out my thing.
Okay. So Ariel's going to figure out how to be sure we're good on that side. The last question I asked Ariel was the difference between hard skills and soft skills.
Yeah.
We good?
Not yet.
Okay, so I'll continue. Mm-hmm. So I'll lean more towards the entrepreneur. Be a part of, and I'm sure that there's several other organizations. And now, because of COVID, you have more time to be online and finding these organizations, finding this information, so that you can start to amass a different type of knowledge base for yourself, as well as start to plan and then attempt different concepts. You can see how geophysicists in South America are working, in Africa, in North America, in Europe, and all the rest of the world, and just see what's going on other places, and see how you can use those solutions to better the lifestyle of Indonesians, right? Is everybody in this group from this area? Ariel? Is everyone in the group from Bandung?
No. They're like from different regions.
All over Indonesia?
Yeah, all over Indonesia.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Is anybody here from Sumbawa by chance?
No, I don't think so.
Nobody from Sumbawa? Yeah, I'll be doing a webinar with the Sumbawa Technology University, I think, in a month.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
$100.
We good? So we have somebody to answer the hard skills, soft skills question?
Not yet. Just continue first.
No problem. The good part about the first one is that you get to figure out where the holes are. It's no problem. Absolutely no problem. So let's look at the entrepreneurial process of looking at geophysics, because often as science-based situations, people look for jobs first, and they don't look for business first. And that's a big issue in my personal opinion, is that when it comes to innovation, the innovation when it comes to large companies is often very, very slow, because you have chain of command. You come up with a great idea. You're fresh out of school. right? You've been thinking about this thing the whole time you're going through. You're passionate about this particular area, but you're 20 and nobody's listening to you, right? You're 22, 23 when you graduate, whatever the age area actually is consistently here, but nobody's listening, right? Your boss thinks he knows everything. His boss thinks he knows everything, and you're just a kid and nobody cares. But the reality is that all the new best things that are happening from people that are under 30 years old. Right? Look at all of the different companies that are coming out of the US, out of Europe, out of all Jakarta now. Like there's so many new things that are happening, and it's all happening because of young people. So be sure that you don't allow yourself to feel not powerful, because you are powerful. You have the ability to make changes for yourself, for your community, and for your country. And science is one of those ways that you can do that. I mean, being in the ring of fire, there's so much that's happening here. You have volcanoes everywhere. How is that not a part of the power structure here, right? Can you convert the heat and the situations that you have with the volcanoes, the smaller earthquakes and those kind of things? Can you convert that to electricity? Absolutely. But then how do you take that electricity, how do you take that conversion and ensure that it's adaptable and something that you can bring into the everyday Indonesian home? And by solving these kind of problems, by asking these kind of questions, you come up with wonderful answers that can change the lives of millions of people. Be aware that Indonesia is the 5th largest market in the world right now. 5th largest. That means there's more people here spending money and have problems that need to be solved, and you guys are in a position to solve what could be, which are major issues. The benefit also is you can look at Japan. It's like right over there. Maybe it's over there. I don't know the direction from where I'm sitting, but like Japan right now is coming up with phenomenal ways to deal with tsunamis, phenomenal ways to deal with earthquakes, phenomenal ways to what materials are they using? Even as a geophysicist, maybe that's something that you take. Are you taking that concept and then going into materials development? Yeah. So there's so many different ways that you can use the studies of geophysics or just science in general without like looking at it through like a tiny hole, because that tiny hole limits our progress. Yeah. Learn about geophysics, but then learn about every affiliate type of science that's on the side of it, so that when you're moving into, let's say, construction, as an example, right? You want to build buildings in a place that's a high risk for earthquakes. No problem. There's places all around the world that do that, right? Japan has buildings that has been standing for freaking hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, made out of wood, some of them, and they're not falling. They shake and everything is cool. And they did that without a computer. They did that without CAD. They did that without like being able to run simulations and all of that. It was a dude with a bunch of sticks, and he made something that lasted 1,000 years. So like, be aware of what you have at your disposal and find ways that you can really tap into those things and develop whatever it's going to be for the future that you see fit for this country, because it's yours, right? It's yours. It's not old men up there making decisions anymore. You guys can make real changes in a very short period of time that'll last until you're the adults that are in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. And if you're in that mentality of appreciating the ideas of the youth, then you can, I think propagate's the wrong word, you can help to grow those ideas and grow that new way of thinking. I've seen in Indonesia often where the youth are taught to respect their elders, which is wonderful. That is a beautiful thing. But I've also seen where a younger person will have an idea or want to do something, several other individuals that have gone through that. But the reality is today, you are going to have more exposure to technology than anybody that's older. They're not going to understand it the way that you are, right? They're not going to understand, for example, the amount of software that you can go out and find right now. Not tomorrow. You don't need the college to pay for it. You don't need anybody else to pay for it, because most of it's for free on the internet. You just have to know where to search. And if you're spending your time developing those skills, which I actually think that should be a soft skill, and I'm going to add that to the notes, like actually being able to interact with the internet appropriately. being able to research appropriately so that you can hold on to that thing. I think that should be considered one of those. Like work ethic is a soft skill, but I feel like being able to navigate through the internet appropriately, how to find information and how to find the correct information. And even recognizing that even if you don't speak that language, that Google Translate is not the only translator, that there are other translating companies, that there's other ways that you can get information that may not be in your native language, and then convert that to your native language and then use that information to accomplish whatever goals you want to accomplish. Are we ready with that question yet, Ariel? Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask that question so we can move past that. I was stalling a little bit. All right, so difference between hard skills and soft skills. So hard skills are the technical knowledge that you have, the stuff that you know, the things that you do. Soft skills are going to deal a lot more with emotional intelligence, which is actually a huge thing because do they have classes in your school about emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence. That is probably one of the most important things that you...
Artificial intelligence, we're having.
Artificial intelligence, but not emotional intelligence. That's hilarious. So... Emotional intelligence is the benefit, not necessarily just for your professional life, but also for your personal life. How do you communicate with individuals? Are you able to actually listen to other people? Because while your ideas are important, while the way that you see things are important, it's important to be able to maintain a strong dialogue because you may not understand something that somebody else had a good perspective on. I'll give you an example. If you're looking at my hand, for example, right now. So if you were to say that this person has 5 fingers because you have the perspective of all 5 fingers, but if there's someone standing on this side or someone standing on this side, they don't have that same perspective. They may be able to say that he only has 1, 2, 3 fingers. Maybe they see the thumb, maybe they don't, but that 1, 2, 3 is their perspective. So if you have a limited perspective and just a small shift in that perspective can completely change the way you see that. Emotional intelligence is a big portion of that, as well as just having an open mind and being flexible in the way that you're thinking, which actually goes into the next one, which is being open in the way that you think, but then also being open to feedback. So as we were discussing earlier, or as I was commenting earlier about being younger and the idea of just starting in certain situations and being in the frame mind of growth and being in the frame mind of the student or your elders and other people that are over in organizations, if you can take their feedback and really consider what's happening and how you handle situations, how are you working, how are you learning, how are you growing, because older people have been through that process, right? And it doesn't necessarily even have to be someone that's older. It could be someone that's younger. They just happen to be through more things than you. I have a girl that's a part of my organization who's 20 years old and speaks 9 languages. I don't speak 9 languages. So when I have conversations with people from this country, people from that country, this situation, that situation, it's not just the languages, but when we discuss culture, she has more of an understanding of culture. So my age versus her experience, and I have to be able to receive feedback. So if I'm having a conversation with someone from this particular area, and there's this particular cultural thing that makes a difference that I was not aware of from an anthropological standpoint, I have both an anthropologist from that particular country. I have an anthropologist from Indonesia that works with me, as well as a translator who will speak not necessarily just Bahasa, but maybe Sasak if I'm in Lombok, or Balinese if I'm in Bali, or whatever other place I am, being more specific, Javanese, or maybe even down to the specific village that you come from. And if there's things that I don't understand in how I'm approaching or discussing things, I have to be able to receive feedback, even though I'm at the top of the food chain. I'm not just wearing around barking orders. I have to be able to understand the things that are happening around me. And that's a big thing for you to understand when you're first starting, because you're going to be the boss one day. So if you start in that space of understanding that feedback is important, open-mindedness is important, and emotional intelligence is important, it gets you in that right direction so that your staff, the people that you're working with, your teammates, can come to you, or you all are able to communicate about a situation appropriately without letting unnecessary emotions or miscommunications cause problems. Because the one thing that I can guarantee you for life is that there will be miscommunications. That is a guarantee. It's not a question. It's not even a maybe. It is a absolute guarantee that you are going to say something that someone is not going to fully understand. Somebody's going to say something to you that you are not fully going to hear and or understand. And both of you are going to think that you were heard. And it's going to create some type of conflict or tensions later on in that situation. And developing those soft skills to get past that is super important. Am I going too fast, Ariel, or are we
Yeah,
good?
I was gonna cut you off because you are going too fast right now.
Okay, so I'll slow down just a little bit. Adaptability. Adaptability is another thing. Adaptability, the ability to change in any situation, being relaxed, not being rigid. A lot of my development and my success has come from my background in martial arts. And if you guys are familiar with Bruce Lee often talks about being like bamboo or being like water. And it's about being flexible, being able to change with the situation is necessary, because those that are rigid get blown over. Those that are rigid break, but those that are flexible can bend with the wind, can bend with the change. And today things are changing way faster than they ever have in human history, not just recent history, but human history. We are making adjustments like this. And frankly, me being honest with you, many of those adjustments aren't happening in this country. It's happening outside of this country. So you guys have to take the time to look at how things are happening in Korea. Look at how things are happening in Japan. Look at how things are happening in China. Like, honestly, look at how things are happening in China, because China went from just manufacturing, very similar to what you have in Indonesia, to being a world leader in space exploration, car development, food production, and it happened within a decade. Within 10 years, everything changed in that country. So there's that level of innovation is unheard of. That speed of change is unheard of. And you guys are growing up in that time where that type of adaptability is no longer just something that you want, but it's a necessity for success in any venture, because from the start of that venture to the completion, the whole world could have changed 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. We're doing this webinar because of on this way because of the coronavirus. None of us saw that coming, and it changed the world that fast. The internet changed the world that fast. Cars, electricity, electric cars, those things are changing faster and faster and faster. And it's how are you able to adapt and deal with those new things? And or how do you not just adapt and deal, but adapt and not just interpret, but take into yourself and find a way to extract new opportunities from the new opportunities that are coming in front of you. If you look at the coronavirus again, the masks, everybody is now wearing masks. In Southeast Asia, people were wearing masks before here, but in the rest of the world, it really wasn't like that as much as I've seen it in here before Corona, and Thailand before Corona, some of the other countries I've been to, people were already wearing masks. But for all the countries that weren't, that was multi-millions of dollars that is moving from one new product. It's not necessarily connected to geophysics, but it's about being able to adapt to the reality of a new situation. Let's see. This one. Active listening. Active listening literally takes practice. This is, all of these things take time, take practice, but to really understand how to listen. There is a difference between hearing and listening. Are you actually taking in the information that is being shared with you? Are you able to process the information? Do you need more time to process that information? Some people need to take notes, right? Some people can interact and then, let's say, for example, they tell you a story or they give you something, then immediately repeating that back to them and paraphrasing that back to the individual that you're communicating with, so that they know and you know that you're talking about the same thing. There's been so many times since I've been here where I'll communicate a particular idea, and I believe that I communicated it in the simplest, clearest fashion, and then when it's repeated back to me, it's 100% not what I said, and it's humorous to me now. It's not something that I get frustrated about. It's not something that I get upset about. It's something that, as I said earlier, the only guarantee is miscommunication. It's a guarantee. So do your best to be sure that you're putting yourself in a position of success. You're putting yourself in a position of success by understanding that active listening and developing strong communication skills is at the core of those soft skill spaces. The last one is your work ethic, or how much do you put the work in? And people don't understand that. Like, when it comes to what the definition of success is, it's changed. Your parents, for success, it was going to college and then they get a job, right? But today, half the jobs are gone already. COVID just closed down a ton of companies. Opportunities the old opportunities have disappeared. They're just gone. Some of those companies are not going to open again. Jobs that some of you, while you're in school, maybe you worked at a restaurant, right? Maybe you work someplace that closed down because of COVID that will not open again. Now, in that space of geophysics, I don't know about the job opportunities that you are looking at. Maybe those have changed for you, maybe they haven't. But understand that across the board in other sectors, that is a real thing. And there could be something that changes tomorrow that may do that again. In fact, the idea of how many of you have seen the movie I, Robot? Can we see
I
that?
haven't watched it yet.
You haven't seen I, Robot?
No, is it Will Smith?
Yeah, I, Robot with Will Smith.
I only watched like a glimpse of it, like, but I don't know. Like the robot turned evil.
It's not about the robots turning evil. That's not the point that I'm making. It's the idea that robots were in every single part of human life. Understand that we are there. That is not 30 years down the line. We are in that space of technology today, right now, today, right? We are in a space where, if you're not aware of this, where we have prosthetic arms, which used to be just a hook. It was like a piece of wood. You lose your arm and they stick a piece of wood on there with a hook. You got to figure that out, right? And then they had the prosthetic arms where it looked like a hand, but it was kind of a creepy hand in a weird way. And they tried to make it look natural, but it really didn't. So now we have things that look like freaking X-Men movies or comic books where you can play guitars or piano with prosthetic hands. And if you haven't seen that, please do the research and understand how real that really is. We are in those movies. Every science fiction film that you have ever seen, all of that shit is real today. Every single bit of it is real today. So you can look at those new technologies and figure out ways that you can apply those technologies with the soft skills and the hard skills that you have, being flexible, being open-minded, having the work ethic to put the effort behind accomplishing whatever goal it is that you put out in front of you. How we doing, Ariel? Am I still going too fast or my rhythm good?
Yeah, you know you're going too fast right now, right?
All right, so let's see. We'll pause for a second. There's a few other things that I want to go over, but let's pause and be sure that we're doing some active listening and exchange. Any questions? We'll start with anything that you guys have questions about the soft skills. Or anything that I've set up until this point. Let's go ahead and go there. Ariel, you can choose whomever you want to ask whatever questions they'd like.
Is there anyone who wants to ask questions? You can just write it down on the chat if you want.
I can't see that. So if you see it, if they write it, you have to read it to me because I can't see that on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But so far, not yet. I do have a question, though.
Okay.
What's the differences between innovation and creative, like being creative?
Okay, so first I'll return that question to you. What do you think the difference is?
Innovation is a product, while creativity is, I don't know, it's just something that you're born with. That's for me.
Okay. So this question actually goes into linguistics. I realize that most of you don't speak English as your first language. So there's one key portion of English that a lot of people overlook, and that's that words in English have multiple definitions. So Ariel, what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and pull up dictionary.com. Right, and then look up the definition for the word innovate, not innovation, but innovate, and then look up the definition for the word creativity as well.
Oh, hold on, I'm working.
Okay. So was there, while you're doing... Huh?
Yeah. Innovate is make changes in something established.
Mm-hmm.
especially by introducing new methods, ideas, or products.
Mm-hmm.
While creativity is the use of the imagination or original idea, especially in the productions of an artistic work. So innovation is make something new out of something that exists.
Mm-hmm. It goes into both. So you can use creativity to innovate. But sometimes the idea of creativity isn't just about design. Sometimes it's about basic functionality. There's a company in America, it's called OXXO. I don't know how you're supposed to say that. But they took very, very simple, all the stuff that's in the kitchen, your potato peelers, your knives, your any kitchen utensil, and they redesigned all of them, every single one. And now it's a I don't know, multi-billion, but it's a multi-million-dollar company, and all they did was change things that people are already using every day. So when you go to the store and you see your can opener, but then you see the OXXO can opener, it has a nice little curve to the edge. Maybe there's a different handle. Maybe it rotates different. You know what I mean? Something to that effect. But they would make small changes to things that are already existing. And that by nature is what humans do, right? We are naturally innovating on a consistent basis. We need to take what was behind us and then do something new with it, because it's 2020, right? Things are not like they were in 1996. Things aren't even like they were in 2005. Hell, things aren't even like they were in November of 2019 anymore.
Mhm.
You see what I mean? So the idea of what type of creativity you're using and how you're applying that creativity to innovate in your particular field, there's a wide range of those things. It could be something as simple as the UI or UX for the software that you're using as a geophysicist. That's something that sounds completely like who would have thought of that, but that's the idea, right? You have to interact with this software, but the guy who wrote the software was a developer and wasn't a geophysicist. It happens all the time. Are professionals in the thing that they're doing the technology for. So they kind of get it, but they're not going to actually use it, so they don't understand. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
Yeah? So that's understanding that piece. That's a small area of innovation that frankly can make you quite a lot of money in a very short period of time. And that's still geophysics. But now you're talking about web development or app development within geophysics. Let's say that you're looking at your scanners. Oh my goodness gracious. One of the programs that I have in Sumbawa, especially in geophysics, deals with finding gold. So let's say that you have a metal detector, right? So you're walking around with your metal detector, beep, 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 beep. That's how it was. But now you can have a full-fledged like LCD screen that's showing you the depth, that's showing you the different minerals, that's giving you tons of different readouts on this screen. You used to have to walk around with this thing. Now you can have a drone that flies over and does it. Maybe you have an RV drone, not RV drone, but a on the ground vehicle, right, that's rolling around and doing that scan for you. There's so many different things that if you're combining technology from other situations and then bringing it into this field, it's innovation, right? If you took a remote control car, right, that your grandpa gave you for Christmas when you were 13, right, and then slapped an Arduino on the bottom of that thing and do the scan that way, all of a sudden, nobody's done that before. Mm-hmm. And you can gain tons of information, maybe in a space that you couldn't have walked, right? You can't walk out there to get that. And there's all the hills and mountains and whatever. Yeah. But if you have a drone or some type of other type of...
There's actually, right now, there's a drone, like geophysics drone, like you can actually shoot out signals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can build it, and it'll take you 30 minutes. It's not, and I bet you that drone costs like $3,000.
Wait, there's another question.
Oh, what's the other question?
Which skill very important for us, sir, so we can focus on that, focus to that?
Okay.
Like which one is like, do you think very important?
None is more important. Actually, you know what? What I'll say is the work ethic. I'll say work ethic. Because if you have a good work ethic, then you can spend the time and do all of these things.
Because people would choose people who work harder than smarter?
It completely depends on what your job is,
Mm-hmm.
right? There are people in my organization that I prefer to just do the thing that they're supposed to do, right? Versus someone that I need to think about what they're doing. It's a different situation, right? How fast is that situation changing? Do we sit around and just come up with new ideas all day, or do we actually get the job done? You see what I mean? And that's where the work ethic piece can also come into play. How are you actually going about completing the tasks or whatever that situation is? You brought up the drone earlier that you said, right? If you have a mentality of I want to work smarter but not harder, and this is
I want to work smarter because I don't like to work.
Exactly. Well, you don't like to work.
I just like hired people.
To be honest with you, I'm in a similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that it takes the work ethic to do the things that are necessary to be in that position, right?
Is innovation a requirement for success?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, guys.
Absolutely. It's not even a question. Today, it's not even a requirement for success. It's a requirement for survival. You have to be flexible. You have to be able to use what was before, because most of that's not going to work in 20. Practice.
I think innovation is not something you're born with. It's something you think about.
Read the definition for innovation again.
It's innovation is basically make something new out of something that exists.
Exactly. So let's look at this shirt that I have on, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a hoodie. I'm comfortable, but then I put this is one of my symbols on the top of this, right?
Yeah.
So I just innovated this hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? There's innovation in the design of this hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one of these in the world, right? It's the three. There are only 3 of these in the world, right? So this innovation is something that I did. It wasn't like a 30-year.
Yeah, it's not. Innovation is not something that needs to be major, right?
Not at all. It can be the smallest thing. The smallest thing. The eraser. Consider that. You have a pencil, and on the back of the pencil, the eraser was innovation.
But that was like a long time ago. It exists a long time ago.
You still have these same situations,
Mm-hmm.
right? What are things that you deal with that every single day is a problem, either in geophysics or in just your everyday life, that you can then find the solution for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're all dealing with the same things. Maybe your mouse, there's something going on with your mouse, maybe your headphones, any of those particular things. Let's say you're the camera on your computer.
What's
right?
wrong with it?
Huh?
What about it?
The fact that anybody can turn your camera on from a distance and look into your home right then. But if we have a little piece of plastic and that little piece of plastic just sits right here, you see what I mean? That's massive innovation, but it's not really innovation. I just put my freaking finger over it. But if you put something on that could be a major innovative thing. Yeah? Okay, next question.
How can I more quickly turn?
That's it. Do it and fail. Like the biggest thing that you cannot be afraid to fail. The process of developing a good business is a completely different idea than the idea. Business is business, right? And a big portion of my company is sales and marketing. And when you're in sales and marketing, one thing you hear often is that the product doesn't matter. I'm going to say that again. From the perspective of someone who's in sales and marketing, the product doesn't matter. If I'm selling a phone, if I'm selling a pillow, if I'm selling a t-shirt, if I'm selling a webinar, it doesn't make a difference because marketing is marketing.
And I don't think business is something new. Like even if it's a t-shirt, it's not something that new, right?
No, not at all.
But you can still do it anyway.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be something new to create business.
Yeah. Business is the exchange of value. I need that to be clear. It's not even just about money. It's about the exchange of value. There are certain deals that I'll have where instead of me buying a particular thing, I have an exchange of value with a company. And that exchange of value increases our mutual value. So that's an innovative way to view business if the only thing you ever see in business is a cash exchange. Do you see what I mean? That's another thing. Looking at the way that other countries or other cities even approach business versus how it's done here. Maybe one small idea from another culture, from another place, can make a big change here.
Just by traveling.
It's a major deal.
Yeah, but we don't. Yeah. Hold on. There's another question.
Yeah, keep going. This is fun. I'm enjoying this.
I am very basic in geophysics. Probably like basic, like newbie. What can geophysicists do? Another machine learning and data analysis. What does it mean? I don't understand.
Are they
on geophysics? What can geophysicists do? Another machine learning and data analyst.
I assume they mean how do these two things connect?
Probably.
Okay.
Richard, can you elaborate on what you're asking, because I don't understand, and you can just speak them in Indonesia.
That's active listening right there.
Richard, boleh diulang aja nggak pertanyaannya pakai Indonesia kalau ini? Because I don't get what you're saying.
Halo.
I can hear you.
Pertanyaan saya itu kayak sebenarnya mau nanya ini pembahasannya cuma seputaran skill aja atau bisa juga yang tentang kegeofisikaan gitu. Kayaknya nih pertanyaan saya sih mengarah ke geofisikaan sih.
Maksudnya pertanyaannya apa?
Pertanyaannya ini aku tanyainnya apa yang dapat seorang ahli geofisika lakukan selain machine learning dan menjadi analisis data gitu. Analisis data.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So he's basically asking you, what can geophysics do except machine learning and data analysts?
Except?
Like, yeah.
I still don't understand the question.
What are the things that geophysics do?
With those things?
No. Except like the machine learning, outside the machine learning and data analysis, what else can geophysics do?
Tons of stuff.
Exactly.
Tons and tons and tons. Like, that's the awesome part about, like, when you, let's take a small step back and look at when you go to college. I don't know if it's the same here. Okay, so like there's a difference between the study of an art and the study of a science, right? So when you're studying the art of something, science is an art. Understand that science is legitimately an art, and when you can understand the arts in your science, then it also opens up your creativity and gives you new roads to innovation. You know, the drone that you were talking about. This is not just this drone, and this is a conversation I love having with people. When you're going into business, especially when it comes to science, some companies are well-funded, and those well-funded companies spend buttloads of money on technology, right? Buttloads of money on machinery and software and blah, 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 blah. But other companies don't get those funds. In fact, some other science-based companies, they make all their own equipment. All of it, every single bit of it, from scratch. And frankly, it's cheaper, faster, smarter, better. Are you familiar with pyrolysis?
Pyrolysis?
Yeah, pyrolysis.
No.
Okay, so let me ask the group: Is anybody here familiar with pyrolysis? Pyrolysis.
What is that? I don't think anyone. Yeah, I don't think everybody.
Nobody? Okay, no problem. So pyrolysis is. Oh wait, we got something. You can just Google it.
Pengolahan metallurgi real. So it's not like it's metal, like minerals. Something about minerals.
Pyrolysis deals with heat, pressure, and time.
Yeah.
So with those things of heat, pressure, and time, everything changes. And when you look at geophysics, that's the best definition of that. Like, you see that the Earth moves like your skin moves, right? The Earth is a living being, it's a living entity, and it grows and it changes. It down, and then that becomes the Earth. Then feeds the trees that are around it. And then those trees dies and push it down, and that becomes compressed, right? And it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and that compression becomes a rock. right? And then it goes deeper and deeper, and that rock goes under more compression, and then that compression becomes a diamond or some other type of mineral. That's the process. So like understanding that all of that is happening at once, pyrolysis is doing that in a contained situation here, right? So the pyrolysis is actually a major solution for the plastic problem in Indonesia. So if you'll hear more about my
company.
Huh?
So just like crash them down.
I'll show you. As a matter of fact, what I'll do is
just show me that.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I'll connect with Ariel about that and be sure that you guys get some information about how we're using pyrolysis to address the plastic issues in Indonesia. It's a really good program. It's a really good program. But I got lost for a second. The last question was, I remember now. So that machine, if I were to purchase a pyrolysis machine, that machine is going to cost me I think the cheapest one I found was like $15,000 US.
15,000.
$15,000 US for a pyrolysis machine.
Yeah.
I've seen them as high as $100,000 US, but I can make one for like $300, like 4 million rupiah. It's not, so when you're in the space of being a scientist, but then also an artist in that science, you take the time and understand how to build your equipment, how to build your own software, how to do those things, right? And then in doing that, it opens up what your capabilities are all over the place. So you're not waiting for, some investor, or you're not waiting for your company to pay for something, and you're stuck and you can't do your job because they can't pay you or they don't have the money for you to do your job. Learn how to do this, do it on your own.
But honestly, some people just don't think about it.
Dude, you got the internet. That's not an
That's probably what I want to ask you, like to encourage those people to just think and,
I hear you.
Yeah.
Don't be a drone. Wake up. Control your life. Be aware of what's happening around you. Be aware of what you're seeing in the news. Be aware of the media that you're consuming. Be aware of the food that you're consuming. Be aware of your thoughts. Be aware of your time.
So one of the questions is, how do I come up with an idea?
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. If you struggle with coming up with an idea, don't. Copy somebody else's.
Exactly.
Legit. And in the process...
Innovation is not something new. It's just, right?
Exactly.
What is it? Like, innovation is not something that's new. It's something that
add on
exists,
to something.
But like you add on to something.
Exactly. Do you know who Henry Ford is? Do you know that
Henry
name?
Ford, yeah. The one who made cars.
Yeah, Ford Motor Company.
Yeah.
So with Henry Ford, this is one of my favorite stories. Henry Ford was not a highly educated man, right? But he bought one of the older vehicles before Ford came out, the Model T, yada, yada, yada. And he spent time building and taking apart and building and taking apart and building and taking apart this vehicle until he understood every single nut, bolt, piece of this vehicle. So then when he came up with a new manufacturing process, it was because he had done that thing so many times that he understood every single element of it, and therefore innovation was birthed from his work ethic. Do you understand? Thomas Edison is different. Thomas Edison is another, right?
He's a genius.
No, he wasn't. Thomas Edison was a genius businessman. He didn't invent shit. He didn't invent absolutely anything. He took the inventions of people who were just working, stamped his name on it, and then now in the history books, Thomas Edison invented this. No, he didn't.
How has innovation become ingrained in your organization culture, and how is it being optimized?
That is a very good question, and a very well-written question as well. Good job, whoever did that one. Well done. All the questions so far has been good. I'm not trying to isolate that one, but that shows a good command of English as well. I see that. Good job.
Yeah.
Read that to me one more time.
How has innovation become ingrained in your organization culture, and how is it being optimized?
It has actually been, well, we'll talk about just my organization in Indonesia, and it's been really interesting to see how I needed to give permission to allow people to innovate. The assumption was they were just supposed to do what I told them to do, right? And that's not, like I said before, sometimes that's not a bad idea. But
you're going too fast.
Oh, that one was too fast?
Yeah.
The speed of my speech was too fast?
Yeah.
Okay. Depending on which area within my organization. I don't know if because during the introduction, Ariel didn't really cover all the things that we do because we do a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
we do a lot of stuff.
We do a lot of stuff. So it's
if people are asking me what I'm doing, I'm just like, I'm doing a lot of stuff.
a lot of stuff, a lot. So in the selection of the particular area that we're looking at, it's about empowering first and foremost. When I call or if I'm working with Ariel on a project, there are times where it's like, hey, I need this, and I'm very specific, right? But there's other times where it's like, hey, I need this information or I need this thing done. Show me how you are going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And I want to empower her to be able to think for herself, to approach things in a new way. Mistakes are okay. Not only are mistakes okay, right? So every time you run into something, you get that opportunity for feedback. We have the conversation, right? We joke about it, we laugh about it, we overcome that particular thing, and then we move forward. Yeah, so and that's not just with her, that's with every person that's in the organization. There's times where there are times where it's difficult because in the space of innovation and the mistakes, you have to go to the feedback part, which is part of the soft skills. So you had an idea, something happened, the idea wasn't successful, and then they get to the feedback part and they don't want to hear the feedback. There's an emotional connection, which goes to emotional intelligence, where they feel like they were wrong or they're bad or, like it's a personal thing that there was a mistake in the idea. Well, that's not the case at all. Shit happens. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're going to make mistakes. And when that happens, if you're a part of an organization that backs you instead of whips you, for making mistakes, and you feel more empowered to do that, you get Google. You heard what I just said, right? That company is phenomenal for letting their people innovate. In fact, through your work hour or through your work week, I think in Google you either get like a couple hours per day or a couple hours per week. Not just to nap, for innovation. Come up with your own ideas. What is something that you want to do? And then present that to us. You see? Next question.
Can you share a specific innovation strategy you've recently encountered which you find compelling?
Nope, just do it. No strategy, just do it. It's not that complicated. Don't overcomplicate things. Keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Don't, I understand when you're in the learning process, especially with the internet, there is something to information business, right? You have all of these internet gurus that are telling you how to do this and you can make money doing this, and they don't do none of the shit that they're talking about. They sell you the information telling you to do the thing that they've never done before, right?
The thing about engineering is it's pretty strict. Like when it's A, it's A. It's B, it's B.
That's just not true.
No, that's how I thought.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And to be fair, I'm sorry, I apologize. More people think like that.
Exactly.
But the fact is, that's not true, and it never has been true. I recommend that I think recently they had a new movie come out about Albert Einstein. Yes. Recently, I think the History Channel did a movie about Albert Einstein. Watch that movie.
Oh, History Channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch that movie. Watch movies about innovators. Look for people who have done those things, and you'll see it's the same movie over and over and over again, right? This guy or this male or female has this idea. Everybody's like, oh, that's never gonna work. You're crazy, yada, 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 yada. And then at the end of the movie, they're all kissing his butt. Like, that's the cycle every single time. Don't be one of the naysayers. Don't be one of the people that's trying to pull people down for thinking differently. Do that on your own. Think differently. Break the mold every day. But the way you do that is by first doing what is done already. Right? That's what the innovation portion comes.
Yeah.
So you get good at what exists and then break it. And then do it again. And then break it. Literally fucking break it. Literally break it. It doesn't cost and depending on the situation. But I mean
camera or something.
Let's say your cell phone, for example, right?
It's already broken.
Huh?
It's already broken.
It's already broken?
Yeah.
That's not a bad situation. Now, you get an opportunity to fix your own cell phone, right? You figure out how to fix it, and then you look at this and say, you know what? There's a lot of people that have broken their phone the same way, and now that I fixed it myself, I didn't have to pay 300,000, 400,000 rupiah for somebody to fix it. It only cost me $15,000. I did it myself, right? So now the innovation in that market is putting up a website that explains how to do that thing. You see how that works? And that's just an idea that I came up with as we were talking, because I started to think in that process. Problem, solution. Problem, solution. Every time you run into a problem, that's an opportunity for innovation. Do you see? Every time that you find a solution that's only partially solving the problem, that's an opportunity for innovation. Do me a favor. Grab the oven mitt thing. It's like a duck or something that's over
It's not
there.
a duck. It's like a hen wife. This one?
Yes. Okay. Let's look at. Oh, this is a duster. Okay. So this duster.
Hen wife. I don't know.
You put your hand in there somewhere?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, it's like this. It's that.
Okay. So let's look at this. This thing was designed for, I don't know what the hell this is actually for. I don't know what problem this solved, but you know what problem it solves for sure is that there's a duck, and this duck made me smile. So whatever the initial design was, the innovation was to put a duck on it, or Hello Kitty, or this little thing to hang it on the wall. You got 3 different things that changed in this one design, right? And this one problem to solve several different needs. You see what I mean? To solve several different problems. I want stuff in my house that's cool, but I love ducks. That is not a legitimate thing. I'm not saying I love ducks, but like I want to have ducks. Maybe you like Hello Kitty. I saw a lady with a Hello Kitty house in São Paulo Assad. I'm not joking. Her front gate was a giant Hello Kitty head. That was great. But if you like that thing, then that's part of what your innovation for your home was. You see? And it doesn't stop. It's in every single area.
Technologies, business models, and trends will drive the biggest changes in your industry over the next 2 years?
That is the most college-based question. Oh my God. Oh my God. There is no way that anybody can ever answer that question. Straight up. Things are changing too fast. You can't think 2 years in the future anymore.
Just think of one.
No, you cannot. That's dead. That's dead. Coronavirus proved that everything can change that fast. The whole world can change in the blink of an eye. You can't plan 2 years out the way you used to, right? You can't. You thought you were going to be going to class next week, didn't you?
Not next week.
But you get my point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you went through, you thought in 2020 was going to be like 2019. Nope. New normal. Shit's different, right? And that's not an isolated event. I am, how old am I? 38?
You never count. No,
I don't know.
40.
I think I'm not 40. I'm not 30. I think I'm 38. I think 37, 38, somewhere in there. But when I was
just stop counting when you're like 30.
I never really cared. I never cared. Like, I think it had to do with car insurance and like things like that in America. But after that, I didn't care anymore. When I was growing up, we didn't have the internet. Yeah, when I was your age, the internet was there, but it wasn't what it is today. You know, I don't even think eBay was around yet. I think Amazon was still a bookstore, right? And now Amazon is the major retailer for the world, and that happened in that much time, right? So there's so many things that are changing so fast. Actually, I can answer those questions. 3D printing, Arduinos, and Raspberry Pis. Those 3 things bring technology, bring the access of technology into the home, the access of creation into the home and into a smaller and more palatable situation in ways that have never been possible before. So that's the answer to your question.
What's Raspberry have anything to do with it?
A Raspberry Pi?
Yeah.
Your laptop is this big laptop, right? You can go buy a Raspberry Pi, which is like the size of your cell phone, and it has the same power as your computer. And it's cheaper.
I thought it was a food. Raspberry Pi.
No, it's a mini PC. I get it. There's honestly, that's another issue though. Like, technology in Indonesia is usually 10 to 15 years behind. And in today's world speed, that's not 10 or 15 years. That's 65 years. Because by the time you get the latest thing, it's old. And not just a little old, but super old, you know? And the cost of technology here sometimes is a pain too. I was looking at buying a 3D printer from Bukalapepa or Tokopedia or something. And the not just 3D printers, 3D printer and virtual reality. That's another technology.
What's oh, like the one.
VR classes,
VR
right?
classes.
You can do everything education-wise with VR.
Yeah.
Right? You want to learn about a thing, you can step into a virtual world and do all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All of your equipment training, all of the digging, all of your scanning, any of the things that you need to do, you can learn in VR. But to buy a virtual reality headset here is literally twice as expensive as it is anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So there's certain things that, like, the technologies that are out there, finding out what they are, and then doing what you can, whether it's through legislation, whether it's through talking to your education facilities, your colleges, your parents, you know what I mean? Depending on who your parents are, maybe they can start pushing for things, talking to your local Bupati, to your Kadus, to your Kades, to your Banjar, whatever that may be, and start pushing them to help you get a hold of these technologies, because everybody else has it. With 3D printing, learning about CNCs, learning with virtual reality, learning about Raspberry Pis, and you're in college and haven't heard of it,
Yeah.
and it's 15 years old. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a real thing. That's actually a major problem. That's a major, major issue. So continue. Next question.
I don't have any questions left. Is anyone else want to ask Mr. Simon any questions?
My favorite color is blue.
Mine is black.
I like to take long walks on the beach. No more questions?
I don't think there's one question.
Cool. Didn't you have a list of some other things you wanted to hit off? Or did we hit on all those?
We hit all of it.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much
That's cool.
everything.
I mean, I know I gave you guys a lot of information, and I tend to do
Yeah,
that. I tend to do
you
that
do.
all the time. But, like, in that space, I hope you... Was this recorded?
No.
Oh, next time we got to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to be sure that we keep them recorded. That way you can go back, and if I'm talking too fast, you can, like, slow the speed down.
Mhm.
Yeah, and replay it to yourself. You can go back, and maybe you missed a section or whatever, and you can check it out again. That's it? Okay, well,
That's it though.
thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you guys
Thank you
very
for
much for
coming.
having me. Honestly, thank you for having me. We are going to work on some other webinars like this.
Early, but I'm not a good host.
It's okay. We'll practice. We'll practice.
I'm not a good host, guys. So don't expect too much.
It takes practice,
Yeah.
right? Everything. It takes practice. So thank you again for having me. I'll let you go ahead and sign off. I'll give another
Let's
chance
just
if
sign
there's
them
any
all
other
together.
questions. Is there
I
any other
think-
questions? No more? We're
Oh, yeah,
sure.
wait. Maybe you can explain about your career till now.
Sure. So, like,
From America.
I started my first business when I was 13 years old. I was actually selling incense, and then within 3 to 4 months, I had
Incense?
incense. Yeah, I made it myself. Incense, like lighting incense,
Like.
and incense. You burn it and it smells good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, incense. So
Manyan.
manyan,
Manyan.
manyan.
Yeah. Manyan is like a
Manyan.
little pretty.
Yes. So my first business was I made my own and sold my own incense. And I was 13, and within the first 3 months, I had like 15 employees.
Mm-hmm.
I got all the other little kids in the neighborhood.
And how old were you?
13.
13. You have 15 employees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, continue.
So from there, I just got it. Like I was paying attention, and I had the work ethic. You know, I was going to school just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But when my friends were outside playing, I was making my incense. I was like, no printers, there was no computers like that. Well, we didn't have access to that. So I was literally handwriting each of the tags, stapling on each and every one. I did that by hand for all of my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There wasn't internet, so I literally went door to door, knocking on everybody's door. Excuse me, would you like to buy some incense? Before you knew it, I had a clientele list. Yeah. I had my own pager. I paid my own stuff. I paid my own college, for example. I paid for my own school.
I paid for my own school too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. But from that situation, I did a few other businesses in the middle, went to school, joined the military, and during that time frame, I was studying organizations. I was paying attention to the way the military taught me. certain ways, and how the chain of command was stupid in other ways. Like, it just wasn't effective. So that as I began to build my own organizations, I was taking parts of what I learned from the martial arts. I was taking parts of what I learned from the military, and then applying that to the development of my organization. When I was going to college, my senior year, my economics instructor was my first client. I started a consulting company. Actually, there's one step prior to. The process of actually doing business, not starting a company, but doing business. These are not the same things. And most people don't understand that these are not the same things. So when do you have capstone?
Capstone.
You know what that is or no?
No.
So in the US, when you are graduating from school, the last course that you have is capstone. So that's like preparing your CV.
Tests.
It's not tests. It's like preparing your CV. It's teaching you about how you can apply outside of school.
This is the one.
That's what this is?
Because like college don't. What is it?
Teach you how to do shit.
No.
That's the truth. I'm not.
That's why we teach ourselves. That's why we have you here. That's why we have a lot of speakers to like talk about career thoughts, like what to put on our CV, like what to do to prepare for interview and stuff like that. Because school doesn't teach us that.
What year are most of the students that are watching this right now?
Third and fourth.
Third and fourth years?
Yes.
My honest thing, let me look at this camera. Get close and be sure you hear this. Start your own business and start it now. Make the mistakes, start it now. I don't care if you're selling t-shirts. I don't care what it is that you're doing. I don't even care what you went to college for. It doesn't make a difference. Find a way to start making your own income online. I want to be sure that that's a very clear thing. You find a way to make your income online. When you look at Corona and the way that Corona has affected the entire global economy, the people that were not affected were the ones who had businesses, the ones who were not affected negatively were the ones who had income online. My businesses that are brick and mortars all shut down, just like everybody else's did, right? So now I got to wait until we can open up. I still got bills to pay. Sometimes you got to pay your lease, whatever. But my online businesses just kept giving me money. Chilling. In some ways, they even expanded because there's more money moving online. Consider 95% of all cash is already digital, right? It's not paper money. 95% of the global cash reserves is digital money. Go get that money. Go get that. Simple things, get it done. And then the geophysics stuff, maybe that's where it is, Maybe you're playing with that on the side. Maybe you start that little business and then the drones we were talking about, right? Those drones, the geophysics drones that I've seen will range from $1,500 to $5,000. And they cost probably about $150 to make. You see what I mean? Not complicated. 150? No. 700,000 rupiah. 700,000
No, it's
rupiah.
not.
I'm comfortable with that number.
No. It's not that cheap.
Maybe 1.5. We'll double that. We'll say 1.5 because the unit is probably 500, and then your Arduino is going to cost you 3 to 4. Yeah, so we'll say 1.5. No more than that. What was the other question?
No, that's it though.
Read that again. Let me be sure I didn't miss something.
No, maybe you can explain about your career too.
Oh yeah. That's what it was. So my first instructor gave me a contract for my first small business and consulting, because during my capstone, I showed that I had a greater understanding of business than what the rest of my my classmates did. So instead of the teacher teaching that piece, he actually let me do it. I taught that whole my entire capstone about business development and blah blah blah. And that was the best thing that I ever did. Like, I got an opportunity to get inside and see the inner workings of several different businesses, restaurants, manufacturing, like you name it. I got to get into the back of that business, and that's how I learned about the core of business. And it's not all the messy stuff or what color your pillows are and that kind of stuff. It's the actual operations. It's management, it's accounting, it's marketing. And when you understand those three things, management, accounting, and marketing, you can do any business. Yeah, any business whatsoever. And then I had a few other specific businesses that went well. I got into real estate, which is another major business. Like that's just a core portion of what I do. And then after that, I retired at 30. I just stopped. I didn't feel like working anymore. Like that's pretty much how that went. Seriously. I just I went to China for 2 years. I did Kung Fu in China for 2 years. I went to Thailand, studied Muay Thai. I just enjoyed my life, and then I got bored, to be honest with you, and then got right back into business. Now I'm doing business all over the world.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. What is that thing that jumps up right there?
That's the voice.
Oh, okay, cool. That popped up here?
Yeah, that probably.
What is that?
She just joined.
no,
No, she's not just joined. Like, she left and then joined.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, cool. So that's it?
Yeah, that's
So how do
it
we sign
though.
off? You want to wave like this at the same time?
You know how I'm bad at goodbye?
Oh.
Like it's so dry.
Here, you guys get one of these. Get out there. That's love. Do your own business. Make mistakes. Find out what's good for you. Like, do you. Because the world is changing too fast to try to do what everybody else is doing. Find something.
Dari inovasi itu sebenarnya nggak sesulit itu. Lo bisa kayak bikin yang baru dari sesuatu hal yang udah ada. Intinya itu. Is there anything else?
Nope.
About innovation?
Nope. We're good.
Okay. That's it though. Tapi gue nggak tahu ngomong. I don't know how to close this thing.
That's it. Just bye. That's it. Keep it simple.
Oh, foto.
Photo?
Yeah, photo.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're gonna go into the photo session. Everyone can turn on your camera, please. Is it on? Oh.
I don't even know what software you're using. What is
Is this Google Meet?
Oh, okay.
Oke, foto aja ya. Oke, 1, 2.
That's cool.
Yes, everyone can on your camera, please.
Oke.
This is cool. Hello, everyone. I get to see your faces.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Oke.
This is my friend Smalta. It's not Ilona. This one's actually my junior.
Your junior, you said?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oke, we will take the picture. Oke, 1, 2, 3. Oke, once again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's all.
Oh, sir. What happened?
I don't know anything.
Oh, you can't hear what you say.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. That's great. She didn't hear none of that. She was not ready. Let's do it. And we got more people that are turning their
Like,
cameras
can
on.
we do it again?
Yeah.
Because I didn't hear
Tell them all to turn their
shit.
cameras on.
Lan, sekali lagi dong.
Okay, everyone, please open your camera, please. Sorry for the one gay.
That was
Okay, I will take the picture. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Cheers.
Okay, once again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Do you want to do the closing?
No.
Because I'm sucks at it.
Okay. Thank you for Mr. Simon for joining us, and thank you everyone for joining us also. I hope our sharing session today is very impactful for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
He said, she said.
Did I hear that?